Hi, welcome to Short Film Showcase. I'm your host, Mike Messier. On our program, we feature short films from New England and across the world. We also have in-studio guests talking about their projects and their acting. On this episode, we have two very special guests, and the first one I'd like to introduce right now. Charlie Flannery.
Michael.
How are you today?
I am wonderful. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you on our show, Charlie. I've known you for a couple of years. You're a great actor, and you also host your own show, Charlie Flannery Presents.
That's right.
Want to tell us a little bit about that first?
Yeah, I started doing the show about 4 years ago on Taunton Community Access and Media, a local cable outlet like you're doing here, you know?
Right.
And the original format was me talking about real estate, but it was never meant to be your typical real estate show where I would say, you know, and here's a 3-bedroom Cape with a 2-car garage for $369,900. It was always more informational based.
Okay.
You know, I'd have an attorney on. We did a 3-part episode talking about foreclosures. I had a senior analyst on talking from Wells Fargo talking about macro trends. I look back, he was totally wrong. But after I had been doing it for about a year or so, a few of my friends that would see my stuff on Facebook, because I would paste them onto YouTube and then onto Facebook, they started commenting, you know, Charlie, you've got a relaxed feel in front of the camera. Have you ever thought about doing any acting?
Right.
So at that point, I started to do that. And it was ironic because I spent 20 years of my life in the entertainment industry.
Yep.
But it was primarily rock and roll.
Nice.
Yeah, man. I started out as a drummer, pianist. I ended up fronting rock and roll bands, writing, producing, and I mean that was my life. I lived, ate, breathed, slept music. That defined who I was. And then when I turned 30, I was stricken with arthritis in my hands.
Yep.
You know, I could no longer form chords. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't even really grasp a microphone, you know, and it shattered me. But you know, I was only 30. I had to continue on. So I took all that creativity and I put it in a room and I locked the door and I got involved with real estate.
Okay.
All right, and I spent many years doing that, doing okay.
Right.
You know, and then once I started doing this show 4 years ago, after a while, that creativity that I had locked away in a room,
Right.
I would hear the door rattling.
Right.
You know? And then as I started doing more and more extra work and hooking up with different actors, I got the idea to get away so much from the real estate and have people come on, like I'd get an actor friend, and I'd work with them for a couple of weeks, strictly by email.
Right.
To develop character and dialogue. And then we'd meet 15 minutes before showtime and just tape it live in one take.
Nice.
And I started loving it. And it reached the point where having to tie in the theme of real estate became like an anchor.
Right.
You know, an albatross around my
Burden,
neck.
sure.
Yeah. It was almost like Groucho Marx, You Bet Your Life. You had to say the secret word, real estate, the duck would come down, and then we could talk about the Titanic.
Yes.
You know, and so I just changed the entire format. It's called Charlie Flannery Presents.
Right.
If you go to YouTube, in youtube.com/Charlie Flannery, you'll see a bunch of my episodes. What I did was I've done 4 of under the totally new format with the new intro.
Right.
But I also took about 10 or 12 of my favorites from the old show.
Okay.
And just retitled them.
Right.
Even though everything says "Let's Talk Real Estate,"
Sure.
you know, it's titled Charlie Flannery Presents. But I mean, I've done some great things. I've been fortunate to work with some great actors, like. There's a fellow named Tally Clemens.
Oh yeah, Tally's great.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's a former guest on our show too.
Yeah, I saw that. You know, and like I had watched some of his work, and he always seemed to like either get stereotypical roles where he'd be a gangbanger or he'd be in prison
Sure.
or whatever it might be. So I worked with him, and I made him a gang unit detective
Nice.
whose wife had been murdered 2 weeks before
Oh, boy.
in an incident of gangland violence, which was as yet undetermined whether it was random or targeted.
Right.
And his main focus right then was to get his 2 little girls, aged 3 and 5, out of that city
Wow.
into safety. Okay? So, I mean, really, it was terrific to watch him because he grew into, you know, from other roles that he had played. I think I showed him a part of himself. He could be a man. He could be responsible for children, you know
Well,
what I
give him
mean?
the opportunity to show more of his acting talents.
To stretch.
Right, that's great.
You know, and
That's
I've,
great.
I've been able to do that with several actors, you know?
Yes.
In fact, he left, he had this hoodie
Yeah.
that he was wearing under his jacket.
Okay.
And he was doing something that, underneath that, it said Camp 9 Films, which he's involved with from time to time, you know?
Sure.
So I said, ditch the hoodie so we can get a better view of Camp 9 Films, which he did. Then he left the hoodie
Okay.
at my studio.
Yep.
Now, this has been a year.
Because I've seen you wear that hoodie around town.
No, I haven't. Just during a couple of robberies at the Dunkin' Donuts.
Right.
But don't tell nobody.
Sure.
But I keep telling, you know, I keep telling Tally, I know I'm going to hook up with you here. I know I'm going to hook up with you there.
Yeah.
I got the hoodie. It's in my trunk of my car.
Sure.
And today, I had finally had it. I just said, look, I've made enough attempts to get it back to you.
Yep.
From here on out, I'm holding on to it. When you make it big, I'm selling it on Craigslist. That's it. Tutto finito. You know?
Well, you know, you're helping out people. I mean, I got to be on your show, and I had a great time.
Yeah,
Just-
it was great.
Yeah, and I had a good time on your show. You have some nice things going on, but and I've seen your acting, and I like it. And with your new look, with the new goatee, Charlie, I think you're ready for some big stuff. And if we could, I think you recently got cast in a project. You want to mention that one?
One of them is Blue Suede,
Yes.
J.R. Hepburn's production.
Yeah.
I don't know specifically what role I would be playing,
Okay.
but I go on every audition.
Yep.
You know, as an actor, if you only waited until you had an opportunity to act, you know, they'd be
Right.
few and far between. So I take every at-bat I can.
Yeah.
So I go on all these crazy auditions. You know, it's just another chance to practice, take another at-bat, and for whatever reason, they liked me.
I think it's great because
You know?
you definitely have the look of a detective, an investigator, you know, someone who's serious, someone who has a passion for righteousness, and in your real life, you know, outside of acting, I think that's the type of guy you are.
Actually, I'm really a bad person in real life. Yeah, I am horrible.
Really?
Yeah. I have homicidal thoughts in the morning until I've had 4 cups of espresso.
Well, I'm glad it's the afternoon.
Yeah. I've had 6 cups, so you're good. You're safe. You
good.
know? But
Good.
no, I appreciate you saying that. And I've got this character I'm working on for maybe a short story.
Okay.
A priest who's a serial killer.
Okay. Yeah.
I'm thinking with Dexter being off the airwaves,
Yeah.
there's a whole untapped market for people that are serial killer aficionados.
Right.
So the guy's name is Father Cesso.
Okay.
Now, Cesso in Italian means the dirty one.
Oh, wow.
So I'm Father Cesso, serial killer.
Wow.
And I'm hoping to engender the type of warmth and love and affection that Dexter did.
Okay.
It's just in pre-production right now.
This is an idea that you have for yourself to play the homicidal priest.
I'd like to.
Yeah.
I
well,
don't know if I'll hire myself.
Well,
but,
you know, maybe you should, because a lot of actors, I mean, the classic story is Sylvester Stallone with Rocky. He locked himself in his apartment, put tin foil on the apartment windows so he wouldn't be distracted, wrote Rocky in 2 or 3 or 4 days, the first one that won the Academy Award. And when he went to the studios and was pitching his movie, the studios wanted to buy the script but not have him in it. I think they wanted James Caan to play Rocky, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
And
He
Stallone,
would have been good.
He would. He would have, but he wouldn't have been Stallone. And Stallone said, "This is my story. This is my script, and I'm Rocky." And 25, 30 years later, he is known for those Rocky movies, and you can be known as the homicidal priest in your project.
You mentioned that he had put aluminum foil in the windows?
On the windows to block out the sunlight. So
does that stop the voices? Because I
haven't tried it.
I find that interferes. I try to focus. Trying to focus on Father Cesso. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Or Pastor Padre. What do you think?
Padre Cesso?
Father Cesso.
I think Padre Cesso is where it's
Padre,
at. That sounds intense.
I like Padre. I like Padre.
But
I can't concentrate because I'll be starting to write a couple of situations.
Right.
You write. You
Yes.
know what I mean? And you take a character, you put him somewhere, and then he's got to do something.
Right. Yeah.
So I get him that far. Now when it's time to get him to do something other than kill, the voices. Now the aluminum foil. I'm going to remember that.
It's like an antenna.
Because that's how Sylvester Stallone. Who am I to reinvent the wheel?
Charlie, how when you were growing up, was there any actors or films that inspired you to, that planted those seeds for creativity? I know you said you were a musician in a good part of your life, but as far as film work or plays or theater, did anything inspire you?
Like many of us from my generation, television.
Yep.
And one of my favorite shows growing up was Maverick with James Garner.
Right.
God, from about the ages of 9 till about 12, of course, these were when it was in reruns. I wasn't watching it. I'm not that old.
I got it. Yeah.
But my God, I would ride the range.
Yeah.
With James Garner.
Nice.
Occasionally Jack Kelly would show up, and he'd kind of ruin our relationship, but I kind of tolerated him as the black sheep of the family. But man, I just fell in love with James Garner and that life of a gambler and occasionally killing people and always getting the girl.
Right.
It's such a fantasy and so different from the way I live my life, But yeah, that was one of my early inspirations.
Nice, Maverick. That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Any thing in the films or mostly the TV that you like?
Well, mostly with TV. My family wasn't big on spending money on the movies. You know what I mean? We were blue collar, didn't have much money. Yeah. I never went without, but I never got that pony for Christmas when I was 5.
I'm sorry, Charlie. We'll be okay.
Thank you. Thank you. It means a lot.
I know
you know
it
what
does.
I mean? Because, God knows, something like that happens to a kid. You look like a guy that got 2 ponies.
Yeah, two 3-legged ponies. So a total of 6 legs and 2 ponies.
Down in that town in West Virginia.
Yeah, that West Virginia town. I grew up
population 70.
listening to John Denver tapes.
We go see the cannon on the green. Then what else do we do?
The 3-horse.
Date our sister.
Yeah. Well, hey, maybe stepsister.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay, Charlie, we're running out of time.
Okay.
But, you're always such a fun guy. You always bring some life to the situation, whatever the situation might be.
As long as I stay on my meds, I'm fine.
Well, what do you want to tell us about yourself? If you had 53 seconds and you could say anything to the good people watching our show, Short Film Showcase, what would you tell them about yourself?
I'd say that, I try to spend every day having fun.
Yeah.
Because life is too short. And one of the things I really enjoy doing is acting, whether it be on stage, screen, or in my TV show. And I get to meet such terrific people. I mean, I live in the wasteland of Taunton. It's tough to pick up an intellectual conversation with anybody down there.
Sure.
So I'm just grateful to be any place other than Taunton today.
Charlie, it's a pleasure having you on our show.
Honest to God, thank you so much, Michael.
Thank you, Charlie. It's a pleasure. Charlie Flannery, Short Film Showcase presents Charlie Flannery.
Thank you, Mike Messier.
Thank you. Right now on the Short Film Showcase, we're going to feature some work of our next guest. John Mosetich is a great filmmaker from the Massachusetts area. Let's check out some of his work, and then we'll come back with John right here on the Short Film Showcase.
Okay, we're ready. 2 levels. Alpha team's on the first floor. Beta team's going upstairs.
Beta team, there's some stairs to the 2nd level. We're going up.
$100 says Turkle pisses her pants.
Shut the f up, dude.
Both of you, knock it off.
You're stupid, aren't you? Do you think I was gonna be nice to you because you're a girl? I said, did you think I was gonna be nice to you because you're a girl? Oh, no, you didn't. Tammy, if you wouldn't mind. You know, I really don't want to do this. I don't. I didn't grow up as a kid saying, you know what, this is what I want to do. But I need your help right now. And you're going to show me, you're going to tell me what I want to know.
You have a shitty way of asking for help.
She speaks. It's about time. I was beginning to think you're a mute. You know, Tammy here. He says, you're considered kind of pretty by I don't see it. You know, to me, you kind of look like a baboon. You know, and I don't think I'd like to fuck a baboon, even if I wasn't. What's it gonna be?
So, what's it gonna be?
So what's it gonna be?
You keep repeating yourself like a parrot, and we're never gonna get anywhere.
You just think you're a bad mother, don't you?
Are you ever gonna ask me a question?
Sure. Do you mind if I smoke?
Beta 2. It looks like some kind of warehouse or...
It looks like a food storage place or something. It looks like it's been empty for ages.
Beta 3, I have a locked door. Checking for signs.
Damn it. Beta 2. We got shit here.
Beta 3, we have a negative contact.
We're gonna go.
We found it.
Where is it?
Building M, east face.
Don't give me east.
Sir?
I'm not. How do I get there?
Sir, when you get to the building M, you go in the door, take a left, and then walk through the shelves. Take your first right and then your left. It's a f***ing city.
Don't do anything until I get there.
So I suppose you want to know about the senator's military problems.
Military problems.
You don't have the balls to ask me?
Tell me.
Ask me.
Ask you.
You and Tammy want so much to be better than me. Think you know me? For all you know, I might want to tell you everything you want to know. Oh, but this couldn't be smarter than you, could she? You want to know something, you punch someone like an animal. You don't even think to just ask.
Just shut the fuck up and tell me what I want to know.
Are you stupid or something?
I'm stupid. You're the one in the fucking chair with blood on her face. I'm stupid! Huh? Who the f is stupid now? Huh? Who the f is stupid? Huh? You're
Hey!
You're f***ing stupid.
You're gonna fucking kill her, and then we're screwed. Taylor? Is that your phone? It's not my phone. Maybe it's her phone.
It's my f***ing phone, all right? It's my f***ing phone.
You don't have voicemail?
No. I want too much for that crap.
It's your wife. She wants milk and bread.
How the f would you know who it is? And you know what? Who f***ing cares what you think anyway?
She's right. It's your wife.
Yeah, honey, what? What's up?
Hey.
Yeah, what's up? What do you want?
Hey, hon. Are you gonna be a while?
Yeah, I'm kind of busy here.
Oh. You're kind of busy.
Yes, I'm kind of busy.
Oh. Okay. Okay, fine.
Look, honey, look, I'm just in the middle of something right now.
I just wanted to see how your day was, but never mind.
My day is fine. Better than some people.
What are you doing that has you so busy?
Just, don't worry about it, all right? We'll talk about it when I get home.
Oh. Okay. Okay, fine.
Natalie.
No, it's fine.
Natalie,
Really, it's fine. I understand.
are you sure?
Yes. We can talk about it tonight.
Okay. All right. Love you.
Love you too.
Bye.
Bye, hun. Oh, hun?
Yeah.
Would you mind picking up some bread and milk on the way home? Or was that a both?
Sure, honey.
Okay then.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye. Are you gonna tell me what I want to know or what?
I'll tell you. All this time you think you can beat something out of me. You can't. Think you can call me names and get me angry? You think you can hurt me? You can't. Now don't forget that milk, boy.
I said, quit. Tell him what he wants to know.
He has to ask me.
You know, she said... Yeah,
I heard her.
yeah.
Okay. Sasha, tell me about the senator's military problems.
What military problems?
You.
What exact military problems?
What? What? What?
What exact military problems are you asking about?
What exact military problems? The problem with the missiles.
What missiles?
What the f*** are you asking me?
I will answer your questions. You just have to ask the right questions.
Well, tell me about the problem with the X-21 missiles and the senator's problem.
What senator?
Why would I tell you that? Why the f*** would I tell you that?
You plan on letting me leave here alive?
No. No, I don't. Senator Davis. Tell me about Senator Davis's X-21 missile problems and his deal.
Thank you for that. Up until now, we didn't know which units were compromised or who was behind it.
What the f*** does it matter? Just tell me what I want to know.
Senator Davis funded the distribution of the X-21 missiles.
I know that.
Well, I didn't.
Now what I do know is this. The missiles were sold to the Tacoma Guerrilla. The missiles are defective as a chip that were installed in their guidance and manufactured by Rotocom protocol. They are missiles that assume that you have the ability to redirect any and all units. The guerrillas find this out. Senator Davis will likely be killed in the next few hours. Or the missiles will have been deployed throughout the Tacoma region and will be launched before they even catch on.
Is there anything else?
No.
You are stupid. If you know that you're not going to leave here alive, what the f*** are you doing telling me this?
Because you told me it was Senator Davis in the X-21. Up until now, intelligence told us it was a bunch of shortwave radios with bad chips that were messing up communications. Bad radios don't pay, but bad missiles do. Thank you for that. And you won't be leaving here to tell anyone. But I will.
Oh, I'm not gonna leave here alive. You know what? Sasha, you are not only stupid, you smell like
Gotta go in now. Cool it, Turkle. No, sir.
This is nuts. We have to go in. We have no visual. We have to go in now.
You have orders. Stay put. All right, we're going in.
Check. Check.
Check. Check.
Check.
Go, 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 go!
That girl is gonna get us done. Mark my words.
What? What is it, you stupid?
Yeah, you stupid.
You ran.
Yeah, you ran.
You're gonna do what I say. If you don't, you're gonna fry.
Take it from me! Take it from me! What else can they take? What else have I got?
I'll be sorry.
Welcome back to Short Film Showcase. We were just enjoying some work by John Mosetich. And at this time, I'm very happy to present right here on Short Film Showcase's in-house interviews, John Mosetich.
How you doing? Good to see you.
I'm good. Now, it's so great to have you here because I've been to one of your live events, and I had a great time. This was last summer. And John, you want to tell us a little bit about that live event and what we experienced together?
The Forest Green, I think, is the movie that you came in. Actually, Forest Green just recently was accepted into the Mississippi International Film Festival, which I will be going to this coming week. So I'm very excited to go back. It's actually a few blocks away from where I went to college in Jackson, Mississippi. So kind of going back home for that is going to be a lot of fun. That particular day, we were just discussing that the night of the event, or the week of the event, was when the Boston Bruins were in the Stanley Cup.
Right.
And it was supposed to be held at a venue directly across the street from where the Boston Bruins were playing, but at the very last minute, they had to cancel on us,
right.
And so we had to do a lot of scrambling. So I appreciate you coming out to it, because we had to get word out to everybody that the venue had changed. So it was a complete crazy 2 or 3 days, which is kind of normal for me. So anybody who's produced any movies is used to picking up on the go and figuring out what's next.
Yeah, you've got to be flexible and not, I mean, it's like the best laid plans of mice and filmmakers.
Right.
You know, we work so hard to schedule people and a venue, and then at the last minute, you know, you might have the Boston Bruins or another event that's so important in another realm to people,
right.
And your whole thing, my whole thing, gets thrown off. I think it was great because I had a good time. That's why I mentioned it. You know, you had a really good mix of people. You had people from the Boston area, Rhode Island area came up. I believe the event was in Bridgewater, which is a nice, easy drive for a lot of people.
Wasn't too bad.
Yeah,
and parking.
Parking is important to me because you know, I have. But I had a good time at your event, and that's the first time we kind of interacted, and I was really impressed by what you pulled off.
Thanks so much.
Yeah. So tell us, you're kind of a jack of all trades, like a lot of us, and.
Like a lot of us, yeah, I do act, but I started doing more producing, directing, and writing. I've actually always written, and one of the short things that I hope we show in a second is my first DP work when I was about, I think, 12 or 13 years old, and it was shot on Super 8 film.
Wow.
And I actually went back and re-edited, cheating a little bit by putting it on digital, which back in those days I actually did edit it, splicing it together with no sound. Hopefully people will be able to enjoy that very childish little film, but it kind of goes back to the fact that when you're a filmmaker and you enjoy doing all aspects of it. Sometimes you kind of lean towards one area or another,
right.
But it's always really great to learn from other people and get involved with other people's projects so you can see what's good that they're doing and what you'd like to take with it on your projects.
Right. Yeah, because as artists, especially in the film world, you have to be so flexible and be a jack of all trades like yourself, and kind of one day you might be acting, the next day you might be working with someone to write a script, the next day you might be directing, you might be a first assistant director helping somebody else out. You know, it's all important. It's all important work.
I'm currently helping Jill Poisson in a Richard Marr Griffin production of Future Justice, and this last week you just mentioned you have to kind of do everything. So while I'm working with Jill, who's absolutely fantastic, lighting director, they needed an extra guy in a mask to attack somebody. So I became instantly stunt double for some other person and got flung around the room. And it's going to be a fabulous little film, hopefully do out this next year. So.
Nice.
So yes, you often find yourself needing one more person to do one more thing, and if you're making films, you're doing it. So.
You're part of the deal. John, we need you, man.
Yeah.
You've probably heard that call a lot.
I have, yeah. You get the call at 10 o'clock in the morning saying, can you be there at 11:30? And you've got a page of lines to learn, or we need you to run sound, or whatever it may be. That's what you do.
Yep.
So.
And you said part of your life's journey has been in the South.
Yeah, I moved to Mississippi when my father went, he used to set up a company internationally, so we actually got to move quite a bit all over the world. We moved to Mississippi when I think I was about 12 years old, or 11 or 12 years old and lived there throughout high school and college years. So, and then moved up to Cape Cod, and studied acting out there at the Academy of Performing Arts. So, and that's how I kind of migrated into Boston from going out to the Cape for summers, several years in a row.
So you kind of had a north and south upbringing.
Yeah, it's actually really fascinating. I absolutely love that I'm going back to Mississippi because it's a great state. I go round and round with people there. We have maybe a lot of different views on different things, but it's such a great state with great people. And as a matter of fact, the main actor in Forest Green is from Cleveland, Mississippi, which is the town I lived in. And he and I actually went to high school together. And when I wrote the role originally, I wrote it with him in mind. And he luckily was able to come up and play the role that was written for him. So,
what's that actor's name?
Oh, I should have mentioned that. David Dallas, yeah, and he's a fantastic actor. He actually last year his film won the International Film Festival in Cleveland, in Jackson, Mississippi for Best Film.
That's awesome.
So yeah, and he actually also will be featured in the short mini movie that he directed and I DP'd, which I will show in a minute.
Nice. Yeah. Now, what I find interesting about what you're saying is, and I've done this myself. You write a script, and then at some point, maybe before you even put pen to paper or, keys to a computer, you're thinking of an actor, and you're thinking, this guy inspires me to write something.
Yeah.
And is that normally your process? I know normally is a tough word, but yeah.
My process kind of starts out with budget, and I think we all figure that first. When we're writing a script, if you're going to write a lot of explosions, you're not going to make your film unless you get major funding. But the first thing about budget everybody has to deal with is where's your location at. From that point, if I know what the location is, and I guess I should back up a step. First thing is having a really good concept.
Right.
Then figuring out how does that fit into a diner or a subway station or whatever you may have access to. There's a great movie called State and Maine, which which is really, to me, is every filmmaker's paradox that they run into, where you have a plan of action about an old mill, and there is no old mill, so what do you do? And so we all run into that. We all face that dilemma. But as far as the characters are concerned, generally I like to write interesting characters first.
Okay.
And then, as I'm going through, I kind of think about somebody that may play that role.
Right.
A lot of times I honestly write shows for myself. I write a role that I would love to play. Maybe a crazy lunatic or somebody a little off the wall. All my characters are a little bit strange in one way or another.
Sure.
But ultimately, I try not to play that role because I find that it's better for me to help somebody else find that role than to throw myself into one of the films.
It is a challenge to be the writer, director, and lead actor. And sometimes, as filmmakers, we know a project, we can pull that off. And sometimes, like you're saying, it's best to pass the use of acting over to somebody else. And give us an example of when, like what you just said, that you wrote something and you kind of had yourself in mind, but then you passed it on to another actor.
The movie earlier, Tame, which was just shown, first it had a lot of racist comments in it, which hopefully the audience can see that what I really intended is for the audience to really hate this character right away.
Right.
I originally started thinking about myself in that character position. And eventually, I had worked with Michael Reed, who did a fantastic job in this film. I eventually came to understand that this was not from my role, it was Michael Reed's role.
Right.
He did, I think, an outstanding job delivering the character, and Jeanette Wilson did a fantastic job as Sasha. So in that case, I had started the character, writing it as the antithesis of myself. If you're an actor, you, I think, want to play something that's so not yourself that it really stretches yourself.
Right.
And in doing that, I made it so far different from myself, I had to give it to Michael.
It's so different.
I'm not that good of an actor to be able to pull it off, what Michael was.
Well, I might dispute that, because you have a good actor presence and grounded like a filmmaker should be. But we're all eclectic, you know.
Yes.
And your content, as is a lot of ours, is daring. It's edgy. you know. And
definitely, yeah. I try not to be edgy for the sake of being edgy, but I tend to find that characters are always more complex than good or bad. And as a matter of fact, ultimately in the show Tame, which you just seen, I generally write out a full-length feature film, and Michael's character, not to give anything away, but I'll give a little bit away.
Sure.
He actually is not a racist guy, and things that he said were done for different reasons, which you kind of find out in a future feature-length film we hope to make sometime in the future.
And that's a big challenge, to go from making it, because I always tell people, and I've made many short films, is a short film is great, and then you want to take that short film and make that feature, and the scheduling, the budget, the considerations as far as, you know, production values are exponentially, the stakes are raised.
Harder.
Much harder.
Yeah, as an example, the last 2 films that I've made, half of the actors moved to LA.
Right.
I always say it's my curse and my blessing is that these actors are good enough where they feel that there's time for them to move to LA, and I give them a little something to take with them.
Right.
So it's an honor for me to be able to help do that. So in doing that, anytime I'm talking about furthering the script, I'm talking about flying people back from LA, or we have an actor in Mississippi I mentioned, in Chicago. So all of a sudden we're adding layers to the production. Plane tickets, getting timing, getting their schedules working together.
Right.
It's hard enough getting people all in a room at one time. So
scheduling is so hard. You and I can just sit here and
talk about scheduling for the next day.
Right. But what is next? What can people check out about your work, about you online? Any websites you want to share or anything?
Well, really, I'm doing a lot of work again with Richard Mar Griffin on Future Justice. We're doing that. Actually, he just released the DVD Murder University, which I'm a small part in that, and I have the poofiest hair I possibly can have. But I hope that the next thing that you'll be hearing is the feature film of Forest Green, which is the extension of the film that just won or didn't win, but it's entered into the Mississippi International Film Festival, which takes a lot of twists and turns, and I'm very excited about how it has come out on script, and I'm hoping we can bring it to the screen, hopefully in May or June of next year.
Terrific. That's great. Who are some of your, we have a couple of minutes left, so just, if we could, filmmaking inspirations, women and men that kind of say, wow, that talent, you know, either when you're coming up as a youth or even now. Anyone in the business inspire you, John?
I really think guys like you, I don't mean to, but
thanks.
you know, people that are in the business right now are really inspiring to me. A guy named Nat Silva who writes amazing work, and it's underappreciated, and he's got talent just pouring all over the place. And guys like that inspire me. Jill Poisson, I mentioned her earlier, her lighting work, seeing people that do things on such small budgets and yet they make it work in the independent industry. I guess if I'm looking at like big time filmmakers, Ron Howard has always been one of my favorite filmmakers. He tells a beautiful story, and in some of his shots that you just kind of your jaw just drops and you look at the artistry of it. And I try to look at those guys and see what I can steal from them, or aspire to try and be similar to. And as far as storytelling, Tarantino he's by far the best. So, in my opinion, so.
His when I saw Pulp Fiction for the first time, I was it seemed like the screen in the movie theater literally got bigger.
It's a whole different. Well, the movie True Romance, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that one. That one was written by Tarantino, and that's the first experience I had, and it's when it also had a use of racism in it, which was extremely harsh and something that I had never seen before. And the scripting in that is eloquent, and I actually don't know who directed it, but they did a brilliant job of it. So.
I was actually, a real quick story about True Romance, I was actually on a date with a real live girl in a movie theater watching that movie.
That's good.
Yeah, and the projector had an interruption, so the lights in the film theater, the theater went up for a moment, and people were confused and starting to leave, and They told us it would be about a 20-minute delay. The girl wanted to leave. I insisted we stay and watch the rest of the movie. Last date with that girl. I don't know if that's a good story or not.
So you didn't go for pie afterwards and talk about the story?
No,
Okay.
that was the end of that short-term. Putting film first.
Yes.
Is the moral of that story. John Mosetich, it's been a pleasure having you on Short Film Showcase. Once again, we could talk for hours, and we'll have you on again real soon. I appreciate you
Nice to
being
meet
here. Thank you. This has been a great episode of the Short Film Showcase. We've enjoyed work by John Mosetich and also had an interview with John right here in our studio. And our first guest, Charlie Flannery. What a fun guy. I was talking to Bryan Casey, our producer, earlier, and we were talking about all those people out there who want to make a short film or even a feature film. We'd like to give a special message to you right now. If you can dream it, shoot it. I'm Mike Messier for Short Film Showcase.